Benefits. Robert Olds is here. He's got a new book out, and this is it. That's called The World of Common Sense. This could be called that. 75 Brexit Benefits. Robert, good to see you. I said to you yesterday, you know, it's one of those annoying questions you get asked by Remainers all the time. Have you show us any Brexit benefits? So now somebody can just buy this book and reel them off, right?
Absolutely, yes. 75 Brexit Benefits available from all good bookstores and, of course, Amazon as well. And it has something for everyone. Whatever side of the political spectrum you're on, there's a benefit that's relevant to you and that you probably do care about.
Yes.
So there's many Brexit benefits. Indeed, there's 75.
Right.
And it's been a success. Yes, the country's had challenges, but it's not because of Brexit. Indeed, Brexit has been one of the saving graces that's been helping us.
Yeah, exactly right. Isn't it funny that this is the one week when the government, because they're so desperate to find somebody to blame for everything that they've got wrong, they're now blaming Brexit. They're basically saying that the reason the economy's not doing as well as it should be is because of Brexit. Whereas Streeting said it, we've had the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, saying it, we've had Rachel Reeves say it. Why do you think they're trying to start up that whole argument again?
Well, they're making a mess of things. They don't know what they're doing. They're incompetent. They're doing the wrong policies. But I think the real reason is because they've been thinking about how do we deal with Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage is going to be taking all our seats with Reform UK.
Yeah.
They're going to be breaking down the red wall. And so they're thinking, they thought about, well, let's stand close to him. Right. Let's try and out Farage. And now they've settled on trying to just attack him and blame Brexit and blame him for everything in the hope that they'll shore up some of their support if and when there's going to be an election. Yeah, because they worry, don't they, that that they're going to be completely wiped out in the local elections coming up. In fact, I was just reading this morning that they're now talking about trying to postpone more of them. You know, the 7 sort of local county elections where they were rearranging places, I think East Sussex and West Sussex, and there's 5 other places. They're talking about postponing them until next year, which would be the second sign of postponement, right? Because the other thing is, I was going to ask you, do you worry that Keir Starmer, who is by his nature a sort of Remainer and will always want to be more part of the European Union than not, do you worry that he's trying to sort of realign the country a bit? Absolutely. Brexit is under attack. He's trying to take us closer in to the European Union. Yeah. He'll sell us out to the EU. He'll tie us up in even more European Union rules. He'll try and undo Brexit.
He's already done it some parts of the way, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He's tied us up to EU defence arrangements, taking us closer in regulatory alignment to the EU. And, of course, he's essentially a threat to democracy, a threat to free speech, imprisoning more and more people for tweets, and of course cancelling elections. What more do we have to say to the British public to warn people about Keir Starmer, who is of course the most unpopular Prime Minister ever? Well,
I was saying this earlier in the day, that everywhere he goes now, people just make that chant. You know, Keir Starmer is a, you know, we can't say it on here, but they're doing it at the darts, they're doing it at the at football matches, they're doing it everywhere. Anybody who sees him just starts shouting at him, you know. But going back to the book, 7 Brexit benefit types. Number 1, Brexit has saved us billions in EU fees and membership costs. 2, Brexit's returned our independence in fishing, farming, animal welfare, etc. Brexit means better trade. Brexit means we run our own country again, although not very well. Brexit means a better economy. Brexit means we control our own borders, again not very well. Brexit has strengthened our defences and world standing. Boris Johnson, of course, has been blamed this week as well for kind of causing the Boris wave, as it were, because he was meant to control our borders. He sort of didn't, did he?
No, he opened up to the rest of the world. But the thing is now we're out of the EU and we can control our borders. All that we need is a government that's going to do what the public want. And the country's going through a national revival at the moment. Yeah. We're proud of celebrating the country again. We can speak about Great Britain and wave our and hold and hoist our flags up and be proud of our country. All we need to do now is restore control over immigration, and we will be able to, that'll be good for people's wages. Immigration has been used to decrease people's wages. Will be good for the economy. Will be good for making the country productive again. And we can do that now we're outside of the European Union.
Right. Do you get the sense that outside of London as well, it's a much better story, as it were? You know, because London, you tend to get sort of, you know, a lot of, I mean, it's a very Remainery city. You know, it's a very Labour city. It's about the only place now that people vote Labour, in fact. And Sadiq Khan's still the mayor, and he's obviously very pro-European. But you go outside of the city and into other parts of Britain, and you find that many more people agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think Sadiq Khan is anti-British more than possibly pro-European. But outside of the country, the people outside in the rest of the country, you know, away from the blob of Westminster and people's desire to have even more immigration in London, which is causing rents and house prices to be far too high that people can't afford. Outside of the rest of the country, people are proud of the country and want Brexit to be continued and delivered. And the support for Brexit is still strong, and I don't think they can undo it fully. Only by stealth are they undermining Brexit.
No, I mean, I don't hear anybody sensible talking about rejoining the European Union, but you only hear about the sort of crazy people who want to do it, you know, the real sort of fanatics who are absolutely sold on being told what to do by a load of foreign bureaucrats.
Indeed, and they're still lying about Brexit. They're spreading lies, they're coming up with bogus figures about how it's harmed the economy that are actually massively outdated. But even then, when they were produced before 2020, there's Brexit fear-mongering. It's relied on outdated modelling, it made false assumptions, and has been disproven by events. Our trade with the rest of the world has increased, and they were saying it would decrease. So their argument that Brexit has harmed the economy is completely false. And in the 75 Brexit Benefits book, that is all explained, and we show exactly how Brexit has been benefiting the economy. And of course, it's a process. There's still more that we can do, and hopefully we will, but we can do so now as a sovereign, independent country, and the buck now stops with our politicians, not with some bureaucrats in Brussels.
Exactly. Well, the other point about Brexit as well is that all the European nations that are still in the European Union have got worse performing economies than we have, right? Which tells you that they're not better off than Britain is. Britain's actually better off than they are.
We've been doing better than Germany, and of course, you know, we're on a pretty much a par with France. Other countries outside, such as Canada, have also been having their difficulties as well. I think the problem is one of where we're just taxing too much, spending too much, and investing in things which are inefficient and unproductive, rather than actually producing wealth and allowing people to be free to go and produce the wealth, create new jobs. We're just got too much spending in terms of old, antiquated sort of public services that aren't actually delivering, aren't keeping up with the times. And we need to actually have an economy that can produce things again and make things again. And that way we'll be able to fully take advantage of all the Brexit benefits and sell our goods around the world and take advantage of new trade agreements that we've got with India and with Indochina and the Pacific region. We can do so much better outside the European Union. Indeed, we are. We've removed tariffs on things such as oranges and bananas, where we don't have a banana or an orange industry, not much of one in the UK anyway. And we were paying more for our food to protect, essentially, farmers in Spain and France, which made no sense to us. It was bad. We were getting a really bad deal from the European Union, and it was running increasingly risks in terms of we'd be liable for their debts. Now we're no longer liable for their debts, and we can concentrate on hopefully rebuilding our country.
Absolutely right. Well, the book is called 75 Brexit Benefits.